driverless train that ran for 50 years. They say every legend begins with a whisper. But the story of Line 23 didn't start as a whisper. It started as a scream. On a winter night in 1974, the last train leaving Brindleton Station, an old, rusted line cutting through the Appalachian woods, glided into the dark with 67 passengers on board. People waved, couples kissed. A conductor joked about the cold. Then the doors closed. The horn sounded, and the train slipped into the trees like it always did, except it never arrived at the next station. No debris, no bodies, no engine failure, no signs of derailment. Just a train that vanished between point A and point B, a stretch of track barely 12 miles long. Investigators walked the distance over and over. Helicopters searched, dogs sniffed, reporters swarmed the area. But there was nothing, as if the earth simply swallowed the train whole. The families mourned. Officials blamed mechanical error. The rail company quietly shut down Line 23. And people, eventually, forgot or pretended to forget. Small towns are good at burying things that make their skin crawl. But 50 years later, the train came back, not at a station, not on the news, but on a night so foggy the moon looked bruised. It was a railway worker named Harris who first heard it. He was young, 23, newly married, working the night shift to save up for a house. Brindleton Station was dead silent. No trains had passed through in decades. But around 2:14 a.m., he felt a vibration under his boots, soft at first, like distant thunder. He stepped onto the old platform, confused. The tracks had been inactive for years, rusted, abandoned, unusable. But the trembling grew stronger, steady, rhythmic, unmistakably mechanical. The headlights appeared next, two dull circles in the fog, slow, silent, somehow expectant. Then the shape emerged, and Harris dropped his flashlight. It was a train, an old model, long retired, same faded blue paint, same number 23741. He'd seen that number before, in a newspaper archive, in the story of the missing ghost train. The train slid into the station without a sound. No grinding metal, no whistling brakes, just a slow, eerie glide, as if it weighed nothing at all. The doors didn't open. No conductor stepped out. No passengers moved behind the windows. But the lights inside flickered, just once, like someone was walking down the aisle. Harris later said he felt something watching him from behind the glass, not a person, but a presence that knew he didn't belong there, something that wanted him to step closer, and at the same time, wanted him to run. He radioed his supervisor, voice cracking. But when help arrived, the train was gone, no sound leaving, no lights, no fog disturbance, just empty tracks stretching into darkness. They laughed at him, of course, called him sleep-deprived, told him old stations play tricks on the mind. But then more sightings came. A trucker on Route 19 swore he saw a train flying down the abandoned tracks, moving without wheels, touching metal. A group of teenagers hiking after midnight filmed lights sweeping through the woods, following the exact path of Line 23. A local woman claimed she heard the faint sound of passengers chatting, then screaming as the wind carried the echo along the empty railway. And every single report came at the same time, 2:14 a.m., the exact time the original train vanished 50 years earlier. People started calling it the Sleepwalker, a train stuck between worlds, repeating its final journey forever. When reporters resurfaced the story, older residents grew uneasy. They remembered details the rest of the world didn't know, details they had been told never to repeat, like how the conductor of Line 23 had been acting strangely before the last trip, talking to himself, jotting down numbers that made no sense, muttering about something waiting in the woods, or that passengers had complained the train felt colder than usual, as if it were sinking deeper underground with every mile, or that the final radio transmission from the conductor wasn't a call for help but a whisper, "Do not follow us. It wants a witness." The rail company hid that recording. But secrets age badly. A young journalist named Lila Camden decided to investigate. She was sharp, persistent, the kind of person who could convince even silence to confess. Lila dug through archives, interviewed survivors' families, and found something odd. Every passenger on that final train had experienced severe sleep issues the week before: insomnia, night terrors, waking up at the exact same time every night, 2:14 a.m. She collected the reports, mapped the data, and uncovered a disturbing pattern. All 67 passengers had taken that train, not because they needed to, but because they felt inexplicably drawn to it, pulled by something they couldn't name, something calling them. When Lila shared her findings online, many dismissed her as delusional, but deep down, they felt it, that prickling sensation that sometimes reality bends in ways we cannot measure. What pushed her investigation from strange mystery to nightmare fuel was what happened next. She received a package, no return address, no note, just a cassette tape on the label. In shaky handwriting, wasn't meant to be found. The recording was filled with static, but between the noise, voices, passengers murmuring, a conductor giving routine announcements, then suddenly chaos, screams, metal twisting, a hollow, unearthly howl vibrating through the microphone. Then a voice, cold and distorted, whispered, "We are not gone. We are caught." Every expert she showed it to said the same thing. That doesn't sound human. And here's where the story takes the turn. People still don't like to talk about. The train didn't just appear again. It started picking up speed. At first, it glided through the woods quietly. Then, it began rattling windows. Then, it woke dogs across entire towns. Then, people heard the screams coming from inside, faint, overlapping, like whispers from another dimension bleeding into ours. Lila, against every sane instinct, wanted to see the train for herself. So, one night, she went to Brindleton Station, fog thick, moon dim, tracks trembling. At 2:14 a.m., the lights appeared. The train rolled in slow, heavy, burning with cold light, and for the first time in 50 years, the doors opened. No conductor, no passengers. Just a staircase descending into a darkness that didn't look like the inside of a carriage, more like a tunnel carved out of night itself. She turned on her camera, breathing hard, whispering into the mic. She stepped closer. Her final recording ends like this: "I hear them. God, I hear all of them. They're not dead. They're static." A loud crack. Then silence. Lila Camden was never seen again. But her camera was found on the platform, and the train, once again, had vanished. Today, people still report sightings of the sleepwalker, always at 2:14 a.m., always silent, always searching. Some say the train isn't haunted, it's hungry. Some believe it's a tear in reality, a glitch, a loop, a mistake the world never fixed. Others whisper the passengers are still aboard, trapped in an endless journey that never stops, never ages, never ends. A train without a driver, without a destination, without a way out, still running, still waiting, still calling for witnesses. So if you ever find yourself near old tracks at night, and you feel the ground shiver beneath your feet, if you hear a faint, distant horn, if you see two pale lights cutting through the fog, if a cold wind brushes your neck right at 2:14 a.m., do one thing: do not look back. Because some trains take you places you don't return from. And Line 23 has been running its final trip for 50 years, still searching for the last passenger who dares to get on.